Emily wasn't like other girls. From a young age she had a fire in her eyes, a determination that set her apart. While other children played with dolls and dreamed of fairy tales, Emily's dreams were filled with the clang of swords and the thrill of battle. She wasn't interested in dresses or dances. The frills and lace that captivated her peers held no allure for her. Instead, she found herself drawn to the stories of ancient warriors, tales of bravery and sacrifice that resonated deep within her soul. She preferred the weight of a katana in her hand, the cold steel a comforting reminder of her purpose. Each swing, each practiced move brought her closer to the legacy she was destined to uphold. The feel of leather on her skin was a second nature to her. The armor, though heavy, felt like an extension of her body, a shield against the darkness she was sworn to fight. Emily was a demon slayer, not by choice but by birthright. It was a title that carried weight, a responsibility that she bore with pride and unwavering resolve. It was a legacy passed down through generations in her family, a lineage steeped in honor and duty. Her ancestors had fought the same battles, faced the same horrors, and now it was her turn to continue the fight, a secret lineage sworn to protect humanity from the things that lurked in the shadows. These creatures, born of darkness and malice, preyed on the innocent, and it was Emily's duty to stop them. Emily had been training since she could walk. Her childhood was a series of rigorous lessons and relentless drills, each one designed to mold her into the perfect warrior. Her body honed into a weapon, every muscle a testament to her dedication. She was strong, agile, and relentless, a force to be reckoned with on the battlefield, her spirit tempered in the fires of ancient rituals. These ceremonies passed down through the ages connected her to the warriors who came before her, imbuing her with their strength and wisdom. She could sense them, the demons. They were always there, lurking just beyond the edge of the light, waiting for a moment of weakness to strike. They whispered from the darkness, drawn to the warmth of human souls. Their voices, filled with malice and deceit, were a constant reminder of the threat they posed. Emily was their shield, their protector. She stood as a barrier between the innocent and the malevolent forces that sought to destroy them, a silent guardian standing between the world and the abyss. Her presence was a beacon of hope, a promise that no matter how dark the night there was always someone watching over them. Her eyes, the color of storm clouds, held a depth that belied her youth. They were eyes that had seen too much, eyes that carried the weight of her ancestors' battles and her own. She was a warrior, forged in the fires of a hidden war. Each scar on her body was a testament to her battles, each victory a step closer to peace, and she was ready for battle. With every breath, every heartbeat, she prepared herself for the next fight, knowing that as long as she stood, humanity had a chance. The air crackled with an unnatural energy. Emily paused, her senses on high alert. Something was wrong, the boundary was weakening. A tremor ran through the ground, followed by a deafening roar. Emily unsheathed one of her katanas, the polished steel gleaming under the moonlight. The stench of sulfur filled the air, choking, acrid. "They're trying to cross over," she muttered, her voice tight with apprehension. A tear in the fabric of reality appeared before her, pulsating with a sickly green light. This wasn't just a stray demon, lured by some unfortunate soul's darkness. This was organized. This was an invasion. Emily knew what she had to do. She returned to her ancestral home, a sprawling mansion hidden in plain sight. Inside, beneath the veneer of normalcy, lay a hidden armory. Rows of gleaming weapons lined the walls, each piece imbued with centuries of power. Emily selected her armor carefully, lightweight yet durable, designed for both agility and protection. It molded to her body like a second skin, sleek and deadly. She checked her katanas, their edges honed to razor sharpness. These weren't ordinary blades, they were forged in dragonfire, capable of slicing through demon flesh as easily as a hot knife through butter. Tonight she wouldn't just be defending humanity. Tonight, Emily would be taking the fight to them. Standing before the pulsing tear in reality, Emily felt a shiver run down her spine. The air was thick with the scent of decay and the sound of distant screams. This was the gateway to the demon world, a place of nightmares and eternal suffering. Taking a deep breath, Emily stepped through. The world dissolved around her, replaced by a swirling vortex of colors and sounds. She felt a sense of disorientation, of being untethered from reality. Then, just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. Emily found herself standing on solid ground, the air heavy and oppressive. The infernal gate stood behind her, a gaping maw leading back to her world. Her hand rested on the hilt of her katana, a silent promise whispered on her lips. She would close this gate, no matter the cost. Section 5. The Hellscape Beyond. The demon world was a place of twisted beauty and unimaginable horror. The sky was a bruised purple, lit by the eerie glow of 3 blood-red moons. Jagged obsidian mountains pierced the sky, their peaks shrouded in swirling mists. The air was filled with the stench of sulfur and decay, and the ground was littered with the bones of forgotten creatures. Rivers of fire cut through the landscape, their flames licking at the skeletal trees that dotted the horizon. Emily pressed onward, her senses alert for any sign of danger. The silence was unnerving, broken only by the howling of the wind and the distant cries of unseen creatures. This was their territory, their domain. But Emily would not be cowed. She was a warrior, and she would face whatever horrors awaited her with unwavering courage. Section 6. Demons! A guttural growl echoed through the desolate landscape. Emily spun around, her katanas flashing out of their sheaths in a blur of motion. Two grotesque figures emerged from the shadows, their eyes burning with malevolent glee. They were humanoid in form, but their skin was a sickly green, covered in pulsating veins and jagged bone spurs. Razor-sharp claws tipped their fingers, and their mouths were filled with rows of jagged teeth. "Fresh meat," one hissed, its voice like nails scraping across a chalkboard. "And she comes bearing gifts." He gestured to the katanas with a clawed hand. Emily stood her ground, her expression unwavering. "Your reign of terror ends here," she said, her voice cold and sharp as steel. Section 7. Dance of Death. The demons charged, their movements surprisingly fast and agile. Emily met their attack with a fierce grace, her katanas moving in a blur of silver. She ducked under one demon's claws, spinning around to slice through the other's arm. The air filled with the clang of metal on bone, the hiss of demon blood, and Emily's battle cry. She fought with the precision of a seasoned warrior, anticipating their movements, exploiting their weaknesses. One demon lunged, its jaws snapping shut just inches from her face. Emily sidestepped, driving her katana deep into its chest. The demon let out an ear-splitting shriek as it dissolved into dust, leaving behind only a faint whiff of sulfur. But the fight was far from over. Section 8. A Warrior's Resolve. The remaining demon, enraged by its comrade's death, attacked with renewed ferocity. Its eyes glowed with a malevolent fire, and its roar echoed through the battlefield, shaking the very ground beneath Emily's feet. The air was thick with the scent of sulfur and the metallic tang of blood, a testament to the ferocity of the ongoing battle. Emily parried and thrust, her movements a dance of survival, but the demon was relentless, its claws leaving bloody furrows across her armor. Each strike felt like a hammer blow, reverberating through her bones. She could feel the heat of the demon's breath, see the hatred in its eyes, and hear the growl that rumbled deep within its chest. She was tiring, the demon's strength far surpassing any she had encountered before. Her muscles screamed in protest, her breath came in ragged gasps, and her vision blurred with sweat and exhaustion. The weight of her katanas felt like lead in her hands, and every movement was a struggle against the encroaching fatigue. But Emily refused to yield. She dug deep, drawing on reserves of strength she didn't know she had. Her mind flashed back to her training, to the countless hours spent honing her skills, to the promises she had made to herself and to those she had lost. She would not let them down. She had made a promise, and she would see it through, even if it cost her her life. The memory of her fallen comrades fueled her resolve, their faces a constant reminder of what was at stake. She could not, would not, fail them. Summoning a surge of adrenaline, Emily broke free of the demon's grasp. Her body moved on instinct, driven by a primal will to survive. She could feel the power coursing through her veins, a fiery determination that burned away the fatigue and pain. She moved like lightning, her katanas a whirlwind of death. Each strike was precise, each movement a testament to her skill and training. The demon roared in fury, but Emily was relentless, her blades cutting through the air with deadly precision. With a final desperate thrust, she plunged her blades deep into the demon's heart. The impact reverberated through her arms, and for a moment, time seemed to stand still. The demon's eyes widened in shock, its roar turning into a gurgle as it convulsed violently. The creature let out a deafening roar, its body convulsing violently before collapsing into a heap of ash. The sound echoed through the battlefield, a final haunting testament to the demon's demise. The air was filled with the acrid smell of burning flesh, and the ground was littered with the remnants of the fallen. Emily stood over her vanquished foe, her chest heaving, her body screaming in protest. Every muscle ached, every breath was a struggle, but she had done it. She had faced the darkness and emerged victorious. The weight of the battle lifted from her shoulders, replaced by a profound sense of relief and accomplishment. She had won, but the battle had taken its toll. Her body bore the scars of the fight, and her mind was a whirlwind of emotions. She knew that this was just one battle in a much larger war, but for now, she allowed herself a moment of respite. She had earned it. Section 9. The Hero's Return. Wounded but victorious, Emily made her way back to the Infernal Gate. Her armor was battered and her body bore the marks of countless battles, but her spirit remained unbroken. Each step she took was a testament to her resilience and determination. With a final glance at the desolate landscape, she stepped back into the swirling vortex. The memories of the fierce battles she fought flashed before her eyes. She remembered the faces of the fallen comrades, the screams of the innocent, and the relentless onslaught of the demonic forces. Each memory was a scar on her soul, but also a badge of honor. The world snapped back into focus. the familiar sights and sounds of her own world washing over her. The vibrant colors, the chirping of birds, and the gentle breeze were a stark contrast to the chaos she had just left behind. It was a bittersweet return, for while she was home she knew the peace was fragile. The tear in reality had closed, the gateway to the demon world sealed once more. The magical energies that had once threatened to spill over into her world were now contained, but the cost had been high. The sacrifices made to achieve this victory weighed heavily on her heart. Emily collapsed onto the ground, her body finally succumbing to exhaustion. The adrenaline that had kept her going through the battles had faded, leaving her feeling every ache and pain. She lay there, staring up at the sky, grateful for the moment of respite. She had faced the horrors of the demon world, and emerged victorious. The battles had tested her limits, pushing her to the brink of despair, but she had persevered. Her victory was not just a personal triumph, but a beacon of hope for all who had suffered under the shadow of the demons. But she knew her fight was far from over. The demons were relentless, and their thirst for destruction was insatiable. As long as there was darkness in the world, there would always be demons, and Emily, the fierce warrior, the demon slayer, would be there to meet them. She had stared into the abyss and emerged stronger, her resolve tempered in the fires of battle. The experiences had changed her, molding her into a warrior of unparalleled strength and courage. She was no longer just a soldier, she was a symbol of resistance against the encroaching darkness. And Emily, the fierce warrior, the demon slayer, would be there to meet them. She knew that the battles ahead would be just as challenging, if not more so, but she was ready. Her weapon was an extension of her will, and her will was unbreakable. She had stared into the abyss and emerged stronger, her resolve tempered in the fires of battle. The experiences had changed her, molding her into a warrior of unparalleled strength and courage. She was no longer just a soldier, she was a symbol of resistance against the encroaching darkness. The world was safe, for now. The tranquility of the moment was a precious gift, a brief respite before the next storm. Emily knew that she could not rest for long, but for now, she allowed herself to breathe, to feel the warmth of the sun on her face, and to remember why she fought. The world was worth saving, and she would be its guardian.